Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show, Growth Minded Contractor. And with me is a new guest and a new friend, Steve Huber with the $1 Billion Contractor. Steve is similar to me, a sales mind, sales leader, a strategist, somebody who helps grow and scale organizations. So I'm excited to pick his brain today and for you guys to all benefit from his knowledge and experience. Steve, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, Ryan. Excited to be here, man.
Yeah, thank you for sure. So let everybody know just kind of your background and the organizations you've helped, the kind of volume you guys did, the size of the teams, and things like that.
Yeah, I've been in home improvement now for 15 years, which is crazy for me to say. I got started off way early on at a mortgage company that was looking to sell solar to their mortgage customers. And we eventually got bought by Solar City, and that mortgage company today is GoodLeap. So that was kind of how GoodLeap got started in finance. And we got bought by Solar City, went off with a couple of my buddies, one of our subcontractors, a company called Peterson Dean, and started a company called Solar for America. We grew that to the largest privately held solar and roofing company in the United States. Eventually it became time for me to leave and went to a company in San Diego called Semper Solaris. And that grew to the largest privately held solar company in the United States. And now I own a company called $1 Billion Contractor, and we help contractors build awesome sales teams and just sales process and launch new products and really hit the goals that they're looking to grow. And yeah, I've been super fortunate. My teams have done $2 billion in sales, which is how the company got its name. And done that in solar roofing, HVAC, fences, energy storage, and now windows and doors. So it's a fun time.
Super fun. A great person to have on the podcast. And so let's hear. Are you from San Diego? Is that where you live now?
No, I actually born and raised in Sacramento.
Okay.
And yeah, so I'm a Sacramento kid. And
You're back there
and then
still now?
What's that?
Are you still there, or did you move?
No, I live up in Oregon coast, almost in Washington. So if you remember the Goonies movie,
Yeah.
I live in the Goonie.
Is there much surf? Do people surf up there?
Oh yeah. It's cold, but
cold.
if you can handle some cold water, we got great surf, we got waterfalls, we got all kinds of stuff. It's super rugged up
Wetsuits.
here.
As long as you have wetsuits and you're good.
Big thick wetsuit for sure.
Nice.
For sure.
That's awesome. Wow. So your roles there in those companies, you were in some measure of sales leadership. Is that right?
Yeah, I was basically VP of sales at both. Peterson Dean, we called it VP of sales, and Semper Solaris, it was executive director of sales.
Awesome. Let's get into some of the the best practices. So let's say you come into an org, there's an owner with 5 sales reps, and that's where they are. They're doing maybe 5 million, 3.5 million a year. If you were to come in and understandably, you need to talk to them, get to know them. There's a lot of things you need to do, but let's just pretend you're going in and it's going to be roll up your sleeves and do your bread and butter. What is going to be that in order to get them to want to scale? Who wants to scale in order to get them to be able to scale? Could be a roofing company, any home improvement.
Yeah, I think so we primarily help home service companies, like you said. And I think the first thing that most owners don't get right is having a clear vision of where they want to go and what they want to do. And what I mean by that is there's this goal of we just want to grow, right? Or we just want to get profitable, or it'd be great to add one more crew or something like that. But really mapping out what it is that you want to do and what are your North Stars as a business, as I call them. It's what are the things that we can't lose sight of as we grow? Things like being a great contractor or, bring a great customer experience. Those things are really, really important because they can get lost really easily as you start growing. And you can lose track of them pretty dang simply. So, I think that's probably the first thing to begin with is what is a touchdown? What is a win? And what does that look like? And then ultimately, how do we map out a plan to get you there? And every business has things that's holding it back. What I find out very often is it's not the things that usually we think it is. It's usually not a lead problem or a people problem. It really is systems or something else that we got to get in there and fix. So know where you want to go, and then get your data in place to be able to track it and measure it and figure out a way to get there.
What's your favorite way to put data measurements in place if they don't have a very effective way to do that right now?
Yeah, we actually start off with what we call a scorecard. And a scorecard it's very high level data. It's things that most business owners should have at their fingertips. So we start there, and it does 2 things. So first off, it's designed to be filled out weekly, and that way our owners understand exactly where the business is at every week. We can start making good decisions based on that. But it also the first time we give it to everybody, there are holes. There's these blind spots that exist where either it's super cumbersome to go pull the data, or they don't have a way of tracking it at all. And so it's kind of like 1A to setting good goals is you have to have your data in place. And so you start with like getting your data in place, getting a good way to track things. And then you go into, all right, now that we have some data in place, what are the goals that we want to outline and how are we going to hit them based on the data that we have? So I think, Ryan, to answer your question, like if you don't have good data tracking today, just start very simply. Like just start tracking with very high level data that you can use to make good decisions and recognize that you have blind spots and then work to fix them.
Do you like give them a spreadsheet template to use and then they're pulling from their CRM? Do you have a CRM of choice that you guys like to refer out to that does do a good job with data?
I'm a platinum advisor for Subcontractor Hub, which is built for home improvement contractors. They're phenomenal. But my favorite CRM is the one you already have and the one you already know. So if you understand how to use Monday.com, go use Monday. If you're already with High Level, go use High Level. I've run off of every CRM from Sugar to Salesforce to Zoho to a bunch of things in the middle. As long as you're not on Google Docs, like spreadsheets, pick which one you like.
Yeah.
So
nice. Sweet. So, all right. So now I'm a $5 million company. I want to get to 50 and you've helped me make a plan and I have a vision. I want to help my community. I want to provide great careers for teammates. I want to improve their livelihoods. I want to all these nice things. How do you help them make a plan on how to get there? Because, is 5 to 50 million in like 10 years or is it like 3 years? Like, how do you like to talk about and consult like big visions and time and the time it takes to achieve those? Like what are the things you like to teach? Because then like that changes how you spend on marketing or how you create sales teams with self-generated opportunities. And I'm just those are all interesting to me. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on.
Yeah, totally. It's a really great question. So the way that we go through goal setting is not, it starts with a vision, which is, hey, I want to go from 5 to 50 million. And then it's what are the steps needed to get there? So as you can imagine, going from 5 to 50 million is tough. Like it's cash flow intensive, operations intensive. You need a certain execution on sales and marketing and those things. And so we actually have a really in-depth goal sheet that we go through that measures out all of those things. So we look at what are close rates today? What does sales execution look like today? What do we need it to be? What is marketing today? What do we need it to be? What are things like build times and cash flow? And what do they need to be? And kind of planning those things out. And usually when you do that, it becomes very obvious that like 5 to 50 million is not something that can happen in like 1 year, right? It may be 5 to 10, and that may be the big jump. And we have some key hires that we have to put in place to get there. And then the next year it's going to be maybe 10 to 15 or 10 to 20, right? And so you kind of just outline those things, as you build out and let data support the decision. I'll give you some examples. So let's say that we wanted to go from 5 to 10 million. And I said, awesome, Ryan, I need to account for, 5% marketing spend of our top line goal to hit the 10 million. So I need you to account for $500,000 in marketing in order to hit that. And you're like, there's no way I'm spending $500,000 in marketing this year. I can't afford it. It's like, awesome, cool. Then the goal shouldn't be 10 million. Let's figure out how to back and do it a different way. Or we can't go at it with marketing. We need to figure out how to self-gen deals and work at it a different way. So good goal setting for me is not, it doesn't happen in a silo. It happens as a collaborative effort between your finance team, your marketing team, your operations team, your sales team, and getting everybody on the same page to say, hey, we all feel good about this goal and we all feel good on our pieces and making sure that we can execute on it. A very easy way to bankrupt your company is to grow too fast and get in over your skis and take on more work than you can build. And so I'm very sensitive to that, making sure that we have good plans for our contractors. How do we solve that?
Have you ever been in one of those scenarios where the company got over their ski tips?
Yeah. Actually, it's the first time, and it actually kind of leads into what we do today. The first time I launched HVAC, for example, I brought HVAC into a company that I was overseeing the sales side on. And HVAC's a wonderful product. Your customers all know what it is. They know why they need it. There's like a major sense of urgency in buying it. A lot of companies want to launch HVAC. And I think that first month we did something like 20 jobs. Second month we did like 80 jobs. third month I did like 170 jobs. And you can't scale operations that same way. Like the actual people needed to do the job is like, it takes time to hire those people and get the trucks and do the stuff. And so we had completely oversold our HVAC capabilities. And what happened was like, we started having upset customers that were like really upset and started canceling solar jobs and roofing jobs.
Ooh, wow.
And because HVAC's like it's like a spear point, right? It's the front project that people get in. And it sucked. Like we had to pull way back on all of our HVAC. Sales team started losing confidence. Customers were hating it and like ramped it all the way down. And once you break your confidence of your sales team that like you can't launch a product successfully or you can't deliver on it successfully, it's really hard to get that momentum back and get that confidence back in your sales crew. So that's, I mean, that's probably a great example that sits in my head is a time where I didn't have sales and ops on the right page. And again, something I'm very sensitive to today.
Yeah.
Because of it.
Wow. So let's say you have a sales oriented owner. So they're an owner who likes to sell. They're good at it. And that's, half of them. The other half are not so good at it and they like to hire for that. Let's just say you have somebody who's, good at it, they enjoy it, and they are, building a sales plan, they're building this business plan, and they want to execute on it. And now they're looking at sales process now, and you've helped them with sales process. Can you speak to sales process? What's an ideal, how do you go about building sales processes? Talk about that, and then talk about like the owner and how you would encourage them to lead if they are sales oriented and they're just not in the spot to hire a sales manager right now. So like what do you do for sales process, and then how do you consult and coach an owner in the leadership of the team? Specifically, like, do they go out and sell? Do you think they should be a player coach? Do they sell with their team? Like, speak to a bit of that. If you could, those two things.
Yeah, totally. So if you are an owner that likes to sell, you have a superpower, and just like realize that. And Ryan, I know you work with a lot of contractors too and owners, and it's such a benefit if you understand sales from an owner standpoint. So I like to think of that as like, that's the superpower that our owner has, is that they understand sales, and we need to support them in other ways to help them focus on their superpower. And so I'm a good sales guy, but I'm not like the world's best operations guy. And so many times I see owners that are good at sales dealing with things that are ops related that they could get off their plate. And so one of the things I like to do with our owners that are in that same position is like, what are the things, write down a list of all the things that you do throughout the week. If you do this exercise, you'll realize that like 90% of your time is spent not in your superpower zone.
Yeah,
it's like ordering toilet paper for the office or calling permits or like playing project manager.
Right.
And it's like, well, imagine if we could spend 100% of our time or 90% of our time in sales and 10% of our time dealing with this other stuff. How much more would the company like benefit from that? And the answer is a lot. Like, you're doing $10 tasks when you should be doing $500 an hour task as the owner. So write down a list of all the things that you do. And then let's start flanking the things off to either a virtual assistant, or sometimes there's so much of this stuff going on, it just makes sense to bring somebody in.
Yeah.
And get those tasks onto somebody else. By the way, the owners that do that, if you're selling today or you like sales, you're going to be so much happier, like getting that junk off your plate that you don't necessarily
when
like.
the company's doing well, you're happier because you're.
Yeah. I mean, you like it. Like, good salespeople like to sell. Like, they like to get out of bed. They like to go attack the day, and they don't want to be sitting there calling HJs trying to put permits in.
And then they're frustrated if their salespeople aren't selling that month. They're having a bad week or month. Then they're like,
Totally.
And they stressed out, right?
Yeah.
But
Totally.
but once you kind of take yourself out of the game, let's be honest. Like, when you're out of the game, your mind, your senses like slow down, and you're in a different mode. So like switching back into sales, sometimes you don't want to do it because you're like, man, I've enjoyed delegating that. I'm not in the grind. I'm not on the front line. So I think I've done this. I'm a sales oriented owner of a sales training company and a coaching company. And I've taken my foot off sales for some time. And sometimes I was like, I don't want to go back into it because like, that's why I have a sales team.
Totally.
But whenever I'm touching deals, like I'm happier and then there's more profit and there's more capital for the business. If you're a sales oriented owner, you definitely should stay in that mode. It's it's smart. But what I will say is, though, what I'm trying to comment to your thoughts is that it's easy to stay in that sideline, like I'm the head coach of the company. I'm in my box seat, kind of watching the game. But getting in there still, it feels really good, and it revives the team. It builds belief in the team. I think it's good to stay in it if you're a sales oriented leader and not. And I love what you're saying. Like just flanking them, get rid of all the other stuff, and have other people do it that are higher, lower tasks for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. It also, it's going to motivate you to sell more because like if you're trying to wear all those hats, every job that gets sold is like a new list of problems for you. And you're like inadvertently killing your growth because you're like, I don't know how I'm going to sell more because I have to deal with all these things. And I have one owner right now, like he has a sales background. He loves building sales teams. And he was like, Steve, I don't know what to do. Like I'm drowning in all this stuff. And I did the same exercise. Like we went through and started breaking out all the things that he did, got him off of his plate. And now he's like excited about growing again because he knows that he has a system in place to deliver it. And it's not all him, right? Like he could double his sales tomorrow and he'd be fine. Whereas if he was doing all the work, there's zero chance that he can do that. So I think that's kind of the other thing that it gives you is like this confidence that you actually can do the things that you want to do by getting those things off your plate. So I'd say just make a list of all the things you do, really look at it and say, is this time well spent for me? Or can I have somebody else do this? And then, and you guys can all start doing this today. And then just start shooting a Loom video, like shoot a screen share of you doing the thing and start creating like just a Google Drive folder where you have all these tasks and how to do them. Then when you're ready to go hire that person in, you're like, hey, here's what I need you to do. And here's how to do it. And like the training's already kind of done along the way.
Yeah.
And that'll fast track your training substantially from you having to manually do it.
Smart. That's really good. And then I think that, just back to the sales oriented owner, like if you're going to launch new products, it's like the owner is good at pioneering. They know how to get things started and break it and make it, find out what's going to work and sell it. And I think that that's really wise. And that's a big part of your consulting is adding services to contractors. So let's speak to that. I'd love to hear about how do you go about choosing a new product or service to add to a business? Does it depend on the market? Like, what are your thoughts and what do you factor in to your decision process when you give guidance on that, and why?
Yeah, I very rarely am picking new products or advising on new products based on like market conditions. And because I don't like chasing fads, and I've not seen it work out well where people chase rebates or they chase a hot market or something like that. I think it's a really great way to go out of business. Because you kind of get lazy. Like you build all of your process around like solar, for example. Solar tends to be super like feast and famine. You build all this stuff around this rebate program. You teach your whole sales team around a rebate program. You advertise your entire company about around a rebate program. And then the rebate program dries up and like now you're out of business. And I've just seen that happen so many times. One of the things I love about home services in general is that they're applicable everywhere. Oregon Coast needs roofs. Hawaii needs roofs. New York needs air conditioners. Those things exist all over the place. So what I look for when we look to launch a new product line into a company is what are the things that are easiest for the company to like, what's the easiest product for us to make sense to pick up and adopt right now? And may not be what we want to sell, may not be like our golden vision for, like, again, I mentioned HVAC. A lot of people want to get into HVAC right now, but their companies would completely implode if they were to launch HVAC. They're just not set up to do it. So for solar companies, my favorite one is to add roofing. I think that's just a very natural one that goes hand in hand. You're already on the roof. You're already interacting with it. Hopefully you're already doing roof inspections. If you are not offering roofing today as a solar company, you are leaving 30-40% of revenue like for free on the table. And you should be making margin on that.
Seems like heating and plumbing go well together.
Heating and plumbing is great.
Like, heating and air AC and plumbing.
You got to think too, like those are products where you're in somebody's house. And so like windows and doors. And so the kind of execution we have when we have to go in somebody's house is different.
Roofing and siding seems to go well together.
Roofing and siding. Yeah. So like exterior projects, I have contractors, that's all they do. They're like, we only deal with things outside of people's homes. I have other contractors where they're like, we're in people's homes. And so let's talk about water filtration. Let's talk about heating and air and interior products. So I think that's understanding what your company is good at and what they're not good at. Inside, outside projects are both like, it's just a different group of people that you hire. Like when somebody's up on a rooftop, they can look and act different ways than when somebody's inviting them into their home. So again, it's understanding what your business is good at today and what you're capable of pulling off.
Yeah. That's cool. Awesome, man. I love everything you're saying. It's very, very good and very wise. I could tell you definitely aren't giving somebody it's not a silver bullet. It's a process. It's knowing their vision. It's looking at data. It's what's best for them and what they can pull off. And sounds like there's a lot of wisdom in what you're sharing. So that's great. Let's talk about sales process a little bit. What are your go-tos, your beliefs around sales, like your sales philosophies? Is there any, beliefs that are just unbroken no matter where you go? You're going to stand on this and say, this is to be true to me, like these things in the sales process?
Yeah, I think, and again, I've personally worked with thousands of salespeople, and the ones that do right by the customer are always the ones that win long term. Like you can fake that as much as you want, but your life is going to be short-lived as a salesperson. And I can almost see it. And Ryan, I'm sure you're the same way, where you see these people that like hop jobs and hop industries constantly.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're just not in it, man. Like you're not in it for the customer. And that's like number one. Number two is that our job as salespeople is to make it easy for people to buy. Like that's it. And so if you think about a lot of things through that lens, it's like, are we doing activities today that are making it easy for people to buy from us? Are we offering financing? Or are we telling them to go find their own? Are we just pitching cash? Those are probably the big ones I see today. Your job is to make it easy for people to say yes and do business with you. And as the owner, your job is to make it easy for your sales team to do business and to execute. And so those are, two things I always think about in the back of my head as we look at sales process that companies have. Here's what happens so often is, and Ryan, this, to start a company, you have to have like a certain amount of just like figure it out in you. And because there's no playbook, like nobody hands you the playbooks, like here's how to go start a company. And so you have to like grind it out. And then you already make your first hire. And usually you don't hire like somebody off the street. You hire like your uncle, and he was okay. And he sold cars. And now it's you and your uncle, and you guys are out selling roofs. And next thing you know, you're like ready to start hiring like people you don't know. And you don't have any process. Like it was you and your uncle forever. And everything's like intuitive to you, and it just makes sense. And you know the company story real well because it's your company. And you try and hire people and like you fail over and over and over again. It's because these people don't have like any foundation to work off of and anywhere to begin. Like there's nothing documented. And so, that's unfortunately like a lot of times where people go, I feel stuck. Like I'm doing 5 million. I don't know how to break out of it. And I can't hire people. And you just look at it, you're like, man, you don't have a company that's capable of growing right now.
Right.
So let's start like documenting. Let's get our goals. Let's get our vision. Let's start getting our hands around data. Let's start documenting the processes and where they need to be. And just through that exercise, you start to realize that there's just a lot of gaps and holes that we got to go attack and fix. And it's so funny. Like everybody wants to hire A players, but you have to be an A+ company to hire A player.
You do. Yeah, you sure do.
You can't be a D- and be like, all I want is A players, but I'm going to give them no support, no foundations, no vision, no training, no skills. And it's like, yeah, that guy's not going to come into you. And so anyways, like sales process, just, I think about it in that way. Like, how do we make this an amazing place for somebody to come work?
Yeah.
How do we design processes and systems in places to where we minimize the chances of us doing something wrong? And then how do we document it so that somebody can come in and say, oh, like I get this. And these guys look legit. They look like they've got their act together. They've thought through it. And by the way, this doesn't mean that you have to come up with like an employee handbook that's 800 pages long. It means that you just start documenting stuff and have like a clear vision for how your company operates.
Do you have any opinions on like the linear motion of a sale? Like call the customer, set an appointment, do an inspection, present your company, offer financing. Like, so those are very, to me, like very, I don't know, linear, basic sales motions. You got to have that. But then there's like sales methodology, beliefs around how do you ask, do you like believe in question-based sales? Do you believe in, like, is there certain things in the sales process laying on top of the basic, make it easy for the customer, care for the customer, believe in the product? Like, so that's all like there. Are there anything that you train in sales that's like a bit more, I guess, holding fast to some more of like a sales system or methodology? Do you ever subscribe to one and teach that you use in the past outside of the linear movements of a sale?
Yeah. I mean, we're The way that I teach sales process is through frameworks, and it depends on the product that we launch, but they're all very similar.
Hmm.
And we approach it like doctors. Like we are consultative, diagnostic people. We're
Hmm.
problem solvers. And so my job's not to pitch a product; it's to figure out where my clients' problems are.
Hmm.
How do I solve those problems? And then how
Hmm.
I make it very easy for them to say yes to moving forward with solving those problems. And so, yeah, so we do a lot of question based selling. We do a lot of just discovery and diagnostic mode. And again, I think for a lot of salespeople, it's that idea of shifting from, and I had this happen in my own career, which is why I'm saying it. When I tried to like sell stuff, my numbers tanked. When I shifted to I'm a problem solver and I
Hmm.
just started looking at things through that lens, all of a sudden all my numbers went up
Love that.
and I started, breaking records and doing some cool stuff. But it was just that reshift in my own head that forced me to ask better questions, forced me to get my clients talking about their problems,
Yeah.
and even some simple stuff. Like I see a lot of salespeople that make the assumption that they know what the problem is as the salesperson, and so therefore they don't need to ask questions.
Yeah.
It may be very obvious to us as salespeople of what's going on, but we still have to get our client to admit that they have a problem
Love
by
that.
asking good questions there. And for like a good example is I see it all the time where in roofing, companies will walk up and be like, obviously this roof is trashed. It's old. It needs to be replaced. But the client's like hoping they can get a repair still and maybe they could patch it up. And the salesperson walks in the door and they're like, hey, pretty obvious why I'm here. Your roof's trashed. And it'd
Right.
be like going to the doctor and the doctor's like, hey, Ryan, pretty obvious you've got, some disease. You're like, well, wait a second. Like, don't you need to pull your tools out and like look at my ear and check my heart rate and like do the thing so that I know that you've actually gone through some diligence to diagnose what my problem is,
Yeah.
as opposed to just walking in the door and assuming that you know what it is. Sales process is not there for salespeople. It's there for your customer.
Right.
Like it's there for your customer to go through the journey to understand what the problem is and then how you offer that problem out. How do you
Man.
fix it?
Fantastic. Great. Well, guys, you guys are, if you ever reach out to Steve, you're in good hands. Everything he's saying is really, really, really good. Really good. A lot of wisdom here. Appreciate you, Steve. I mean, that's great. So $1 billion contractor.com. Is that how they find you?
Yes, sir. Yeah, you got it.
Steve Huber on LinkedIn. Yeah, guys, take a look and spend some time with Steve. He does a lot of what we do at STG, but he's saying that the right thing. So I know he'll be helpful to the world out there doing it the right way. So yeah, man, awesome to have you on. Appreciate you. Anything else for our audience before they go? If you want to give them any words of encouragement or anything like that?
Yeah, I just say like if you own a company and you run sales teams, like your client is your team. Like just be great. One common theme I see with all great companies is their owners are exceptionally optimistic.
Mm,
And so just smile. Like life is good. If you're lucky enough to be watching this right now, like you got electricity, you got a computer, you got internet,
yeah,
life is good. Like
yeah,
just put a smile on your face and go out there and kick butt for your team and work your ass off for them.
love
And
that.
if you need help, Ryan and I are here for you.
Love that. Awesome. All right, brother. Well, appreciate you, man. And I hope some people contact you from this. This was awesome. You did a great job.
Appreciate it, Ryan. Thanks for
All right.
having me.
Bye, everyone. See ya.